There's a lover that struck me from the heart, left me wounded for eternity.
Hello everyone, and
there's a rose that never let go of a single petal.
hello everyone, and welcome to the first of our live sessions, Ableton for the Classroom. I'm delighted to welcome Simon Lyon, Brand Manager for Ableton UK and Ableton Certified Trainer, for a tour around Ableton's new resources for the classroom. So welcome Simon, and thank you very much for doing this session for us.
No, thanks for that. It's a pleasure to be here a year after the first thing we did, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm sure we've got lots of useful tips, and I know that Ableton has launched quite a few new things to help teachers in the classroom with Ableton Live.
Absolutely. You want me to just crack on, yeah?
Yeah, I'll hand over to you now, Simon, and
Sure.
there you go.
Okay. Right, well, thanks for joining us, everyone. And it's been a tricky time for teachers, for sure, and all those that are around there. So well done for hanging in there. That's what I've got to say. So I'll just take you through a bit of a presentation, nothing too long or crazy. Just check you can see that. And there we go. So what we're going to be looking at is, hello and welcome, of course. So then what we'll look at is an overview of what Ableton actually is. So then at the end of this, if anybody asks you, what's Ableton? You'll know exactly what it is. A quick look at the software and our offering Ableton for the Classroom. And then looking at some teachers that are actually part of Musical Futures already. They're Musical Futures tech champions that are using Ableton Live and Push, which will all become clear soon. And then we'll talk a little bit about some free training, and any questions that you have, you can put them in the chat. So I hope that's all nice and clear. So let's have a quick look. So I work for Ableton in the UK and Ireland. I'm based in Manchester, but of course work remotely, and did travel a lot before the lockdown. But now I'm doing a lot of help online, working with all kinds of people, teachers, artists, that kind of thing. So I'm represented, I represent UK and Ireland. As you can see there, you've got Ableton AG, which is based in Berlin, was where Ableton was founded. We now have Ableton KK in Japan. And then we've also got Ableton Inc. in Pasadena, California. So that's the actual way the company's structured. Our main product, if you like, our flagship product is Ableton Live, which I'm going to show you through. Talk you through a little bit about it. So it's been around since 2001. So if you look at that there, it looks quite basic. I mean, 2001 doesn't seem that long ago to me, but if you look at it now, it's come a long way. The idea and principle of what the software is pretty much the same. So skip on to about 2020. Here it is as part of a functioning home studio somewhere in Berlin. But Ableton Live now is pretty ubiquitous. Everywhere you can think, whether it's Cirque du Soleil, theatre shows, television, obviously in the music industry, it's all over the place. But yeah, from big live shows, Stormzy at Glastonbury, his show, we helped the guy who looks after the technical aspects of the show to synchronize lights and playback of music, click tracks for musicians, that kind of thing. So it really is everywhere. And education, I've always taken interest from early on, but certainly the last few years, it's really become something that we've really focused on, particularly my role in the UK as well. I'm an ex-teacher as well, PGC music teacher. So I have a little bit of an idea about teaching, but haven't been in the classroom for a while. So Live is our main product. We also have Push. Now Push, the best way to think of it is it's a tactile version of Ableton Live. Pretty much everything you can do in our main session view area, which I'll show you shortly, you can do it in a more tactile way. We call it an instrument because you can play it just like you can a MIDI keyboard. You can change notes, pitch. You can play different scales, octaves. You can even set the key it plays in. And you can also use it as a drum programmer. You can use it as a mixing desk, and you can use it to manipulate samples like a lot of other hardware things can. So think of it as Ableton Push is the body, but the computer or Live is the brain. That's kind of a good way to think of it. Also, we have Link. Now, Link, if you're not familiar with Live, this probably won't make as much sense, but it's certainly something to think about. So Link is what we call Ableton Link, and it's in all kinds of devices. And you can see from the picture there, someone's playing an iPad. Ableton Link is in many free iOS apps and some Android apps as well. And what it enables is everything that you see on the screen there to be synchronized to the same tempo. So in this situation there, you've got someone playing on an iPad. There's also an Akai MPC next to it there. Someone playing Ableton Push, someone playing keyboards, and Live, Ableton Live. So they're all synced to the same tempo. So they've got all their outputs, all the audio outputs, routing to a mixing desk. So it just kind of enables this kind of digital orchestra. And it's certainly something that's been explored over the last few years. But it's certainly a way for people within the classroom to kind of jam together and create music and all be synchronized. And depending on what instrument you're playing, they all have the different features. So for example, this on the iPad, it's more of a rhythm programming instrument. The others are more pitch-based. You see the keyboard and things like that. So anything is all linked together. So Link is something that's available in iOS apps. It's available in Ableton Live and lots of different software, and it enables you to synchronize the tempo together. So that's what Link is. And then we've also got something that's been really useful for teachers. This is a learning music website. Now I'll show you a little bit about this within the browser itself. So this is it's free to use. I'll just move over to the actual website. This is the link there. Now, Reese is going to put the link in the chat for me. It's learningmusic.ableton.com. If you've never used this before, I suggest have a look at it. So this is what you get on the first page. And this the advantage of this is you can use it within any browser. So this can be on your iPhone or any tablet, Chromebooks, anything like that. Obviously on a computer as well. So if you maybe only have access to an IT suite rather than a music lab, sometimes you can still work on this. So on the surface, it explains what loops and drums and bass are. For example, here now, if you just play this, it's a drum loop, but if you play something else, so that's just a really simple interface. Now, most of this is based on what Ableton Live is about. And it's kind of a nice entry level. So anyone that ends up using Ableton Live or installs it on their computers for the classroom, I would suggest going here first, because not only are you going to learn about using loops, MIDI, bass lines, drum beats. Eventually, when you go through this, it's like, let's make some drum beats. You get introduced to this kind of grid where it's a rhythm grid, and you can look at it. This one's 16th note, which most of them are, semiquavers. And you can go through here, make beats, and there's this export to Live. So anything that you make on the browser, you can export to Ableton Live and open it and carry on working in the classroom. And then you can add vocals, audio, MIDI stuff, some guitar, any instruments. That's kind of what a teacher could do in the classroom. If you go to the chapters over here, you can see all these things. You've got notes and scales, looking at different tonalities. You've got chords, building chords, and it gives you some musical examples as well. This is a good one, bass lines. A lot of teachers have used this in lockdown when they've not been able to use the computers in the classroom in the same way. They could, set homework. For example, I know a lot of schools look at dance hall and reggae and stuff like that. And there's a dance hall classic here. And if you can play this, if you get access to YouTube, you can play a bit of the video. And this is about the bass line.
Way in my brain, it's way in my brain.
So it tells you a little bit about the actual sound, what it came from, what instrument made it, and then it shows you how the bass line was put together. So you can see in the familiar grid there, you can see what notes it's playing. So from there onwards, you look at other bass sounds and bass lines and introduce the idea. There's a Grimes track here. You may know Grimes as the wife of Elon Musk, but this is before she met him. And this is a track called Oblivion. You play that there, you got the bass line. It explains what key it's in, how it came from a B minor triad and that kind of stuff. This is what it sounds like on here. So you can move these notes, you can elongate them, you can edit it, clear it, you can change the tempo. The idea is to build up to this, looking at things like song structure, melodies, and then you get to the playground. And the playground is where you can experiment with the beats and bass lines, chords, and melodies. And again, all of these can be exported and opened in Ableton Live. So it was never intended for one particular age group or anything like that, but it's just a lot of teachers have kind of embraced it because it does align with, some aspects of the curriculum. So do have a look at that. There's also, if you go to where to go from here, we've got a learning synths as well, which is learning about synthesizers. Similar kind of thing. And there's a bit of a physics crossover, get started making sounds. And it explains the basics of synthesizers, stuff like that. So it's pretty deep, actually, and you can go into it, but there's a lot to certainly go off and certainly can sort of augment some of your lessons. So if I just go back over to where I was before. So that's basically the products that Ableton create. And the best thing about it now is how it works in schools. So we've been working with Musical Futures, and they have 10 tech champions up and down the country. I'll just show you where they are. I've just got a map here somewhere. I've just got to move my Zoom controls out of the way. I'm sure you're used to doing that these days. So that's where they're all spread out. And we have got one in Wales as well, just outside Cardiff, I believe. And these are teachers that are using Ableton Live and Push. So they're kind of like your local help if you are situated near any of these people. And Fran's always a good person to speak to. If you're getting started to using Ableton Live, she can always put you in contact with me because I'm like sort of the representative for the UK and Ireland. But they're based up and down here, right at the bottom in Penzance and right up the top of Edinburgh there. We've got teachers all over using it. I mean, we've got more teachers than this, but these are particularly the Musical Futures tech champions. So in the schools, since I started working for the company, we did this push trading initiative. So basically the instrument I showed you before, the push, when we did the push 1, it was out for a few years. And then when we brought push 2 out, we offered anybody who wanted to buy push 2, if they had a push 1, we would give them a 30% discount if they then donated their instrument to us to redistribute and refurbish and send out to other schools. So from that, we got 5,500 push. We managed to reach about 1,000 schools and institutions, youth clubs across 55 countries. So that was about 4 years ago now. It's getting on for 4 years ago. So time has moved on. We've released a few more versions of Live since then. We're now on Ableton Live 11. We still have Push 2 going strong. And we've launched something else. Now, this is on the website. It's called Ableton for the Classroom, but we did a sort of soft launch and we only really communicated with people that were already using it, which may seem a little daft, but to be honest, I'm going to use the word free and training a lot now. So if you can imagine the sort of influx we've had and the response has been pretty good. So I'll tell you a little bit about Ableton for the Classroom and what it means for teachers. So Ableton Live Intro, which is our first paid version, we offer to all primary and high schools and up to year 12, well, technically 13, because up to A level, as long as you're not offering higher education courses, you can get Ableton Live Intro free. So this is, yes, for all schools, non-profit organizations and youth clubs, which is pretty much, we were trying to help to get live technology into school without the hurdles of actually, the financial hurdles, but also the training hurdles. You're going to have to learn something completely new for some teachers, even if it's something you've come from GarageBand or Logic or Cubase. So we've done some teaching materials and lots of video tutorials for live and push. You can see there it says Unterpush because it's German. So yeah, lots of training materials. And the idea is to be part of Ableton for the Classroom. We can introduce to a whole network of teachers, organizations like Musical Futures that are great at connecting teachers. So this is Ableton for the Classroom. I'm just going to show you the website so you can see that. But just before I do, we do the discounts for education are basically 50% or more. It's actually more our flagship Ableton Live Suite, which is our the main product that people buy for over £500 if you buy it as a consumer, is significantly reduced. I won't go into figures here. You can go and have a look and ask for quotes and things like that if you need to. And for actual teachers, anybody that's using our in schools, they can get 50% discount as well. So let me just move over to here. So this is the actual website, and it's ableton.com. And we're going to have a link in the chat, if you don't mind putting that there for me, Reese. So this is the actual website, and this is where you will find all the offers, a little bit about what I've just mentioned as well. And more importantly, really, is how to get your free version of Ableton Live. So there's a little bit about why you would teach with Live and Push and offers for schools, and this is where it begins. So click that there. How to get Live 11 free for your classroom. And if you do read further on, there is the opportunity to apply for free Push 2 instruments as well. You can read this, find out how to acquire this. You just got to make sure that you qualify. The idea is to get these instruments in the hands of people that would never really have the opportunity. But if you feel you qualify, do apply. And all these do come through to me. So you'll be in contact with me directly. So the actual form, if you fill this in, this is the live intro form. It's only a quick form. And again, that comes directly to me, and you will get Ableton Live intro free for your classroom. And you can apply for up to 60 computers. If you need any more, again, it's something we can look at. But that's basically how to apply for it. So I'm just going to show you something really quickly, which is the actual software itself. Now, this is something that Reese from Musical Futures, he put it together for other software, and I just kind of moved it around for Ableton Live. So I'll do like an Ableton Live in 5. So I don't want to go into too much depth, because we are going to tell you about a free training that will happen in September, which I'll tell you about shortly. So the first thing is, you see this, and it may be unfamiliar to some people. You're probably used to seeing like this view. And this is what you call an arrangement view. So if I just press play here now, this is the timeline. You put your recordings, samples, MIDI information on this track, on this screen, sorry. But in this instance, what we've got is something that's free of time. If you imagine this is a mixing desk, the whole idea behind Ableton Live, that it was meant to be a kind of mixing desk kind of situation, but played like an instrument. So you could manipulate sounds in real time, and that's why it's called live. And then you can try sounds, bring them in one at a time, all together, and experiment using effects and kind of manipulate the mixing desk. And the idea came from the sort of dub reggae, like King Tubby and Lee Scratch Perry, if any of you are familiar with those people. And they were kind of pioneers in the sort of really make use of what you've got technology. So they were using sort of radio studios and all the cartridges you get in those little slots. And this is kind of what our audio is. So this is a resource that Musical Futures made. And I'm sure you can ask Fran how you can get hold of this. But this is a song that you'll know. This is Ed Sheeran, Shape of You. But what it allows students to do is understand the individual elements of the music, rearrange it or remix it. And you can change the tempo in real time. I'll just play some bits that you might be familiar with, just to give you an idea. So that's basically looping round and round. And some people say, oh, using loops is a bad thing. I can honestly say, speaking to lots of teachers and the current generation of students that are very, I want it now, instant gratification, or the McDonald's generation, as I call them. If they can see and explore and hear music that they understand, they're more likely to listen to the music that you understand and you would like them to understand and explore further. So to encourage exploration is probably really a good thing. So I'll bring the guitar in. So what I'm doing at the moment is I'm bringing in or launching clips of music. If I double click this bass line, that's what it looks like. And these are short audio recordings. Now, if I refer back to this screen here, you see it's just empty. Now, if I set the challenge to someone who's never used this before, a teacher like yourself, and they want to say, well, I want to make a 32 bar piece of music using this or remix it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit record up here and I'm going to show you quickly how it works. I could go in depth, and this is currently using just audio samples. You can use audio and MIDI to make different variations and play your own instruments. But this is just more of an initial exploration. So I'm going to hit record up here and I'm going to show you what happens. I'm going to stop these clips. Imagine them like plates spinning. I'm going to stop them from spinning because if I hit my space bar now, it'll just carry on playing. And straight away, I'm going to nudge the tempo up a little bit faster. I'm going to hit record, and then it's waiting for me to say what I want to go first, and then it will record it onto this screen, and I will have an instant arrangement. So here we go. Let's try it. Let's start with the bass. Now bring the guitar in.
Club is in the best place to find a lover, so the bar is where I go. Me and my friends at the table doing shots, drinking fast, and we talk slow. Come over and start up a conversation with just me, and trust me, I'll give it a chance. Now take my hand and stop up in the man in the jukebox, and then we start to dance. No singing like club is in the best place to find a lover, so the bar is where I go. Me and my friends at the table doing shots, drinking fast, and we talk slow. Come over and start up a conversation with just me, and trust me, I'll give it a chance. Now take my hand and stop up in the man in the jukebox, and then we start to dance. No I'm singing like, come on, be my baby, the shape of you. Come on, we push and pull like a magnet too. Although my heart is falling too, I'm in love with your body.
So I could carry on jamming around on that. If I just hit my tab key there, which will flick the view, and you can see there, I did actually stop bang on 32, which surprised me there. I wasn't really counting. But you see it's kind of grayed out now. We go up to the top, and this button says back to arrangement. I click this. I can now edit that just the way you would with any of the other digital audio workstations. If I was too long to start going there, I can just get that, and I can just edit this out and just delete, duplicate, cut the time, duplicate time, all of those kind of things. I've learned all the shortcuts, so I can do it a lot faster. If I want to insert some time there, we can add that. So you can play around with this arrangement. You can add your own samples into it, and you can also make instruments out of pre-recorded sounds. So I'll just show you what that means, because that may sound a little confusing. So I'm going to right mouse click and insert a MIDI track. So I'm sure you're all familiar with MIDI, musical instrument digital interface. If I click this here, you can see the piano roll like this. And what you can do with Ableton Live is that any sound that's on your computer, if I just click MIDI here and double click, it says drop an instrument or a sample here. So what I can do is just pick this mallet sound, and I'm going to drop it down here. And what it instantly does is turn it into a simpler, which is a simple sampler. And what that means is I'm just going to arm my track here. I'm just going to use my computer's MIDI keyboard. I've got this up here with a little keyboard there, which says key next to there. So I can use the computer middle row of my keyboard as an actual MIDI keyboard. So if I go here, I'm playing at C3, which is the pitch it's been sampled at. The actual key of this is C sharp minor, I believe. So if I play this here now, I can play that phrase, but I don't want to just play the same phrase. So what I can do is just steal that one note, and then I now have this. And if I hit this warp button, I'm going to change this. I'll explain this if we do some training, but so now I can play a chord and change the octave. Or I can just play my own pattern in anything I want. So you could do that with any instrument at all. If I was to do this with one of the backing vocals, let's just find one of these. Try and find one that's... I'll take that one. So same kind of idea. Go to MIDI, and then it says drop an instrument or sample here. This is just one way of doing it. There are many ways to do this, but I'm just going to drop it right here. And then again, same kind of thing. I'm going to arm the track. I'll just turn this one off. And I've pressed S, which is solo, which means just concentrate on that one there. I press this now, and you can see it plays. So if I go over here, so it starts there. I can change the volume of it, make it a little louder. I can put some reverb on as well. If I hold more than one note down, obviously I can play a chord. So you can kind of reharmonize music. This is what I'm changing here makes this better for voices. So. So any sound that you get on the computer, you can actually repurpose it. You can take the timbre, but you can play how often, how high, how low, change the tempo and that kind of thing. So there's a lot you can do on there. And this is Ableton Live intro, and this is the one that is free to all schools there. So that's live intro. If we wait long enough, my name will come up there, but only messing. So yeah, it's true though, it does. And so this is kind of an overview. It's used for all kinds of things. There are lots of features. We actually expanded the feature set while still keeping it free of charge. You can actually now use video in the arrangement view. So if you're doing anything where you're using music for picture, that kind of thing, you can drop the video in an audio track at the top or anywhere you want and play along. So you can do that. So considering it's free, you're getting all of these tracks. There's a limit of 16 tracks. There can be a combination of audio and MIDI. There are still plenty of effects and things to use, and it's a great place, ideal for Key Stage 3 and beyond. And the best thing is, from the pupils' point of view, there have been a lot of hits that have been in the charts and things like that have actually been used with Ableton Live. So as I said before, it's pretty much everywhere. So yeah, that's kind of an overview. And again, if you want to get it free, you go here, which Reese did put the link in there. It's the ableton.com/en/classroom, and that's Ableton for the classroom. So those are on the offers for schools. So if anyone's watching live and has any questions, please do ask me any questions and I'll try and answer them now. So if you've got any questions, just put them in. Otherwise, you can contact myself, simon.lyon@ableton.com. If we could put that in, Reese, as well, and you can put that, so it's simon.lyon, Simon Lyon @ableton.com. That's my email. Or if you'd like to join the free training, I believe it's the 28th of September, which is a Tuesday, and you can register your interest with Musical Futures. So I'll stop sharing my screen. And do we have any questions at this moment in time, Reese? Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let my dog out of the studio because he's getting a bit restless. So just give me 1 second.
Yeah.
And then I could do that. So I don't know if you want me to show anything else, or I didn't want to go on too long about boring people with this, but it's bottom line is it's free to get involved. There's no you don't have to lay out any costs, and if you look at the website, you can find out about how to contact us.
Yeah.
Or,
it's super simple. Like, I've been using it for so long with MF now, and just creating ideas and experimenting, especially like the samples that we've got. It's things that people know. It's songs that are in the charts. It's so much fun to kind of play around with them. Really, it's great.
Yeah. Like I said, now it's we talk about, obviously I don't want to sort of talk about other digital audio workstations because they all bring something to the table.
Yeah.
That's absolutely sure. And as you get towards GCSE, VTech, stuff like that, my dog's getting very impatient. I'm just going to let him out with you in a sec. Go on, Max. It's alive, mate. Alive. This is the world we live in.
It is.
So it is used all over, and it's kind of just slightly different. And we've got teachers such as James Tuck, who's one of the tech champions. He's made some other videos and content for you this week. He's doing great things. Andy McLean, who's one of the Scottish teachers, also one of the tech champions. And they're kind of using it in the way of musical futures, the sort of ethos of it's not just one person siloed making music by themselves. We encourage the kind of integration of
it's a collaborative effort, isn't it?
With ensembles. And even in Live 11 now, something I didn't want to demonstrate all its features in one short time, but we've now got this thing called Follow Tempo, which allows Ableton Live to listen to an incoming audio signal. So basically a microphone on maybe someone playing a drum or a drum set or a DJ, and Ableton will then listen and follow the tempo of that signal. So it can basically keep in time with an orchestra or a band or anything like that. So when it comes to exploration and using it in the classroom, people are still experimenting and doing things. There's more that it can do than it can't, basically.
I think the collaborative kind of aspect to it is what separates it, I think, in this kind of environment at least, because there's so many other doors that don't allow you to like play as a band, for example.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even some of the artists that I work with, they a majority of them use Ableton Live for producing and performing, but there are some that they've learn how to use Logic or Cubase or whatever, Pro Tools for in the studio, but then they use Live to be more creative with their performance. So you are going to come across it anyway. Unavoidable, unfortunately. So, but if anyone needs to ask any questions, you can get to me and the email that. Thanks for putting it in the chat now. So, it's all in there, and the 28th of September, there it is. I can see it now on the other screen. So, I mean, it's kind of I don't want to dive in too much further. So I just realised you see on my screen there. If you do it like that, does that change it? I don't know.
No, we can't see anything.
Oh yeah, it just looks slightly different on how you've got me on the screen.
Gotcha.
It looks better. It looks better side by side. I've got mine up and down, so at least it's not going after you there. But so I mean, obviously there's not people watching it so much live. So if no one's got any questions at the moment, that's fine. I think last night I did something quite similar, and no one really asked that many questions online, but I got plenty of emails today.
There's something to look forward to.
Yeah, so that's fine.
So thank you very much for that. That was brilliant, as always.
Anytime, mate.
We've got 2 live sessions tomorrow. We've got a Q&A with music professionals, young music professionals, including myself. That's at 11 o'clock. And then we've got another Q&A with Professor Lucy Green. That is at 4:15, both live on YouTube, like this one. So we hope to see you there. Plenty of questions coming in. So yeah, thank you very much.
Hey, anytime, mate. I'll tune in tomorrow and see how you get on with that.
Oh,
Sounds
great. Nice one. Thank you very much.
okay. I'll leave you to it.